many things affect your life as much as slow traffic and bad weather? Listen tomorrow morning for Traffic and Weather Together every 10 minutes on the 9s on KSL News Radio.
We're celebrating a berth to the Sweet 16. BYU taking down Wisconsin 91-89, and we're taking your calls 801-575-8255. You can answer our question, how confident are you BYU can beat Alabama and advance to the Elite Eight? Or if you just want to react to the game, give us your thoughts. Hey, if you want to sound off on those bad officials, I'm open to that too.
Gosh, that was bad.
I'm
sorry to derail you, but
no,
that was bad. And anyone that's listening to this show, I feel pretty confident there have not been many shows, whether Cougar Sports Saturday or this one, where we point to the officiating. We didn't even bend the knee to the Tony Padilla stuff after the Utah game.
You're right.
We did not cave to that on this show. I'm proud of that. Granted, he is going to be reffing a regional. I don't know which one. We will keep our antennas up.
I think he's been good this year.
Yeah,
I don't have a problem
he's
with
been
Tony.
fine. But I feel like that was terrible officiating. Absolutely inexcusable. The technical on Mag just pointing to the scoreboard.
The technical on Wisconsin,
yeah,
where
on the
Greg Gard
bench.
post-game says they couldn't even tell me what someone said.
Yeah, I mean, what is going on here? I thought that officiating crew was poor, and Kevin Young kind of pointed to it. It's tricky for the coaches to critique refs because they could face fines.
Yes,
but it is always interesting to me. Officials could have a big role in NCAA tournament games because when you're in the Big 12, you kind of just know what you're getting. You know they're going to let a lot go. They're never going to call a charge. It's going to be physical, and you're going to go, how are they not calling that? Kevin Young's even had to learn that.
Yep.
When you have officials that don't ref the same way like the Big 12, and they're not familiar with BYU and and BYU style, and that's tricky. So then BYU has to kind of in-game adjust to feel out how the officials are calling it, which might be a lot different than how they played week after week in the Big 12.
It's a great point, and I thought there were a couple of moments that really frustrated me watching it. Obviously, the flagrant foul, which we referenced. I know what the rule says. I just think it's complete bullcrap, Mitch. That was a basketball play. That happens all the time. You get trapped in the corner, and you try and pivot out of the trap. When people are bodied up against you, sometimes you're going to get hit somewhere in your face or in your groin. That, to me, a flagrant 2 ejection. If they wanted to go flagrant 1, I still would have been mad, but fine, whatever, okay? But to eject Dawson Baker and to swing the momentum at that point in the game and to say that it was clearly indisputable.
Quote, was clearly not incidental contact.
Yes.
To use those words, I don't know if it's clearly.
Yeah, it was not clearly not incidental.
Yeah.
It was clearly incidental.
Right.
The dude was trying to break a trap.
Yeah.
That happens all the time.
I thought that was ridiculous. And Dawson took the high road, and I even asked him, if he got any explanation. He's like, no, I had to go. They didn't really explain to me. But
and that's another thing. Why do they have to go? I like how college football on the targeting eject, they can stay
They
on the
changed
field.
that rule, and I agree with you on that. This was Dawson Baker after the game and how they're pushing aside any officiating and just focusing on chasing a title.
I mean, obviously we got a bunch of self-confidence in ourselves and this team, this group, and we've had that before the tournament, and nothing short of a championship. I mean, we got a bunch of great dudes. We got veteran guys. We shoot the ball. We defend really well, and so all those things make for a championship team.
Dawson Baker's absence, too, was significant because I thought his handle, he was taking Tanjay off the dribble and getting to the rim. I thought he had a really nice game. Baker did 8 points, 3 of 5 from the field. I mean, he had some stretches there where he was guarding Tanjay, and I know John Tanjay, 37 points for him. He was every bit the All-American that he was billed to be. Difficult spot for Baker and the whole BYU team, but I thought he did a serviceable job just trying to make it hard. But a guy that did probably the best job at the end in a game that was offensive fireworks back and forth, particularly in that second half, BYU gets a defensive stand.
That was a great defensive stand. Mawut Mag, the transfer from Rutgers, coming up big, and here was Mag talking about that final defensive stop.
Tanjay, yeah, he's a phenomenal player. He had his game dude does the talking. He had a lot of points, and I just want to make it difficult as possible for him. I knew he was going to come down here in full steam. I didn't want to give him a foul because he's going to double bonus. But I also wanted him to shoot contested too. I was going to live with that. I didn't want to foul him and bail him out because he made multiple N1s. So I just wanted to live with him making a tough shot.
Smart defensive player. That was a great breakdown from Mag on that final play. I thought Tanjay, obviously, he's going to want that one back. I don't know why he didn't go for the 3. I felt like, if he would have gotten a call in that situation, I might have lost my mind.
I was bracing for it. I thought the whistle was going to come.
He got the benefit of the whistle way too much in that game, in my opinion. He was intentionally leaning into players and then falling on the ground to sell the call. And maybe that's just a smart player because he was getting the call and he's going to the free throw line. But my goodness. And on that final play, I think if he had just tried to get a good shot, he would have ended up with a better look because he leaned into Mag thinking he'd get the call and then stumbled and then put up this weird – anyways, it all worked out in the end. But smart by Mag to say, hey, we can live with it too. I think that's really good work from him, and there's a reason he's such a great defender when you hear a breakdown like that because don't give up the three, don't let him get to the rim, of course, but we can live with it too. And he forced a difficult shot, and BYU got the win, man.
Mawut Mag, he's going to be going back to New Jersey where he played college basketball at Rutgers for 4 years. He's going to be going back this week, and I talked to him about that. You can listen to that full interview on the Cougar Tracks podcast feed. It was really insightful stuff from Mawut, and it just kind of peeled the curtain a little bit. Those interviews take place in the post-game locker room, just the energy, the excitement. And I thought what was cool, too, Matt, is that college basketball is so transactional these days, and I think sometimes it's challenging to fans because they don't know who's going to be on a team, who's going to be staying, who's going to be going. But I think that these guys, in talking with the players after the game, they understood that there was a little bit of lack of history for BYU to get to the Sweet 16. And look, they're saying all the right things, that they are not done. They want to continue and get to the distance. They believe it, and as they should. BYU looks every bit the part of an elite team in college basketball right now. They're playing outstanding. But I think that it was just cool that they understood that what this means to the BYU fan base and to Cougar Nation to get to this second weekend. It means a lot. Only the third time since seeding began in 1979 in the NCAA Tournament that BYU is in the second weekend. And I think what's more meaningful with this one is that it's the beginning of something great. When it was Jimmer Fredette, it was the end of an era where you're building from 1-25 all the way up to 2011. This is the beginning with Kevin Young, and that's pretty exciting.
Can we shout out one critical stat? And I'm going to pat myself on the back for this, but on Cougar Sports Saturday, when we do a pregame for basketball games, we have a segment called the three-pointer where we give you deep dive stats that can impact the game, bold predictions. 15 of 16 from the free throw line. I thought they'd shoot better than 85%. They go above 90. I mean, that was the difference. If you miss Acabe Akeda, 2 of 3, that's huge. Richie Saunders, 4 of 4. Trey Stewart, 2 of 2. Unlikely guys making big free throws and big plays in that game. That was critical. They did all the little things right for the most part in that game, and they ended up needing every single point they could get.
And it was interesting too in the post game locker room asking Kate if it was a physical game. He's like, no, not really. And I think that played to BYU's advantage a bit.
Yep.
Sometimes these physical teams give some headaches to BYU. Wisconsin, I don't want to say they were soft, but they were just not.
They were finesse.
They were finesse, yeah. They were a finesse team, particularly in the front court. Their bigs were pretty good. Kroll kind of was a tone setter early to keep them around while BYU jumped out to a hot start. But BYU matched up incredibly well with Wisconsin. And honestly, Matt, once again, through the first 2 rounds of the NCAA tournament, BYU had the better athletes. They had the better talent. They had the better coaching staff, too. All around, BYU had a better overall team and product and maybe program going forward than Wisconsin. And I just think that sometimes in the past, and I know it was asked to Trey Stewart earlier in the week, getting ready for that Wisconsin game, of sometimes BYU would fall in awe to a logo in the past, maybe when they're in the WCC or Mountain West. That doesn't happen anymore.
No.
I think that you've seen the benefits of that day in, day out grind, the stuff that BYU fans got told, well, if you played in a real league, that's what would happen. Well, they're seeing the benefits now because they get in these tournaments and they're not like, oh my gosh, how do you compete with the likes of Wisconsin? So impressive showing. We're taking your phone calls, 801-575-8255. Get on board with us. Share your thoughts on how confident you are BYU is going to make a run and take down Alabama in the Sweet 16. News, traffic, and weather next, and then we'll get to what's trending up and trending down for BYU basketball. And spoiler alert, it's a lot of trending up. More after this.